Welcome to another round of salty takeaways and bitter ends after the 2-2 draw with Atlanta United and New England Revolution. The Revs had come in with not the best form in the world. Jarrett over there, Jon over here. And we were doing a little math before the match actually started. And since New England had completely and totally lost it against Pumas in CONCACAF Champions League, they had a record of 2-5-1 coming to Mercedes-Benz, Jarrett, and 5-2-2, I think, Atlanta United all time with a plus 11 goal difference, unbeaten string of 12, all those things heading into this match with an Atlanta United side that had a lot of folks playing north of 80 minutes midweek in Nashville.
They did. Atlanta had guys who were, by all accounts, should have been dead on their feet. Yeah, they should have been. I mean, they should have been dead on their feet. They should have been exhausted. And it behooved them to do actually what they did, which was get out to an early lead. What did not behoove them was to then give up a goal and then give up another goal and have to fight back, which honestly was really impressive that they were able to find something. Because as annoying as it would have been, part of me feels like I wouldn't have really blamed them that much if they lost that game 2-1. Because when it's 2-1, I didn't know if they'd have anything left in the tank to offer it.
And they end up getting that equalizer. Your starting 11 was about as first choice as you could get. And it was a lot of the same folks that went in the midweek. It was Bobby Shuttleworth in net. Andrew Gutman was probably the one surprise for Atlanta United fans, considering as he was holding his arm after the challenge from Todd Bryan Anunga in the midweek, a lot of folks were concerned about Andrew Gutman. Andrew Gutman played. Alex DeJohn, Alan Franco, Brooks Lennon. Midfield, Mateus Usechu wore the captain's armband. Franco Ibarra was there. And you also had Thiago Almada, Marcelino Moreno, Luis Araujo, Ronaldo Cisneros. So that's about as first choice as you could get going up against a lineup for New England that had one change week to week, three changes from their Open Cup victory against Charlotte. Easy 5-1 win there. And those players, they were pretty much, I think it was 5 changes. I think Bruce Arena pulled a fire wagon change in 60 minutes in and threw 5 players in. And it was a couple of changes for New England heading into this one. And, yeah, to your point, Jarrett, and Gonzalo Pineda addressed it after the match, and you and I were there, that you discussed the fight that the team had in the midweek, but it's those little things that you're continuing to work on and try to eliminate from what seems to be happening on a week-by-week basis. And it was the little things that cost you. And I know that there were a couple of folks in your spot, Shadow, after the match specifically, and I know we'll get into the folks who reached out to us on Twitter as well, and we'll get to the Twitter questions too. But I know that you had you had a couple of folks that you were looking at after the match.
Yeah, I mean, it's disappointing that you give up the goals you give up, because it's a game where you dominate. You have north of 20 shots. You set a record for the season so far. It's the most shots you've had in a game. I believe you had 18 inside the box. Created like 17 chances. You put them under fire like you would expect to put a team under fire in your own house. You did all of those right things. You would like to score more goals in those situations, but you get you get what's probably going to be goal of the week from Thiago Almada. Thiago Almada. And then you get an incredibly well worked goal for the second goal, that it's Luis Araujo getting through after a nice little a little lift. But you leave some out there, and some of it is. And look, some of it is really good goalkeeping from Matt Turner.
Yep.
The save he makes on the free kick in the 10th minute or so, how he gets across and gets a strong hand to that is outstanding.
As he's going to his right, he's almost having to reach behind him to get it. He goes past the plane of 180 degrees to reach out and keep that one out of the net.
And this is a question for a friend of the program, Jessica Sharman, now of the Charlotte side of things.
Yeah.
When she would break down goalkeeping, and this is something that other goalkeepers can speak to, is the idea of reaching across with your arm versus, if you're diving to your right, do you crossing with your right arm versus, reaching out and getting it with your left, how you go about that, because it's a stupid good save. the disappointing thing is you give up 2 goals that you're gonna feel like you shouldn't have given up because it's Alan Franco getting on the wrong side of things, and then Bobby Shuttleworth comes out and then second guesses himself, gets stuck in no man's land, and when you're in that no man's land, your reaction time is basically nothing.
Yeah.
So when Adam Books, it goes 5-hole, he doesn't have time to react. So it's a bad decision to get stuck, in that position. And then the second goal is it's flipped over the top, and it's a situation where looking at it, I looking back at it, I'm not as critical on Franco. I think Franco could have done a better job of trying to like split the difference on things, but he is trying to like protect the runners in the middle of the box and doesn't have the help on the backside.
Yeah. And I think it looked like he was
that,
anticipating that help was supposed to be there behind him, I think.
Yeah, but I mean, and he's got to know it's not there, but it's also like a 2-on-1 kind of thing. Like he's trying to keep track of it all, and it doesn't work. And then you get, it's a tough say for Bobby Shuttleworth because it's close range, and at that point, Bobby's, trying to save that near post, that like tight angle near post high shot. It's a tough save. You would love to see him make it, but it's also one of those that I would love to see him make it, but I'm also not going to kill him for it.
Yeah,
because it's a tough save in that situation. It's the kind of shot and finish that you've come to expect from guys like Joseph, honestly. But ultimately, you give up 2 goals that you feel like you shouldn't have given up, and you created some really good opportunities, and it's just frustrating.
Going through the numbers from our friends at both Opta and at SofaScore, 26 shots on the day, and that includes blocks.
Yeah.
17 of them in the second half. 5 of them were on target on the day. 10 blocks for Atlanta United on the day. 17 shots from inside the box of the 26, and that meant that 9 were from outside the box. Also, on your duels, it was 50-50. It was straight up 49 of 98 for both sides. 31 duels were won by Atlanta United in the second half. Total passes on the day, 527 by Atlanta United, 409 for New England Revolution. Your passing accuracy, 86.7% compared to 83.6, possession 57-43. Running through the numbers from SofaScore, some of the highlights for Atlanta United: Thiago Almada, no surprise, punched in 8.5. Marcelino Moreno, a 7.2. Luis Araujo, a 7.1, along with Brooks Lennon and Alex DeJohn. Franco Ibarra had a 7.5. Mateus Usechu, who wore the armband, had a 6.8. Alan Franco, a 6.7. Bobby Shuttleworth, Andrew Gutman, and Ronaldo Cisneros each had 6.4s. And once again, I think that you look at Mateus Usechu, who wore the captain's armband again today, and breaking down his individual numbers. When you look at what Mateus did on the day, 62 of 65 passing, 95.4%, top of the ladder for Atlanta United. 41 total passes in the opposing half, and his passing accuracy dipped to 95.1% in the opposing half for Mateus Usechu. And so you get to see his touches overall. Accurate passes, 62 of 65 on the day on 79 touches, 4 of 8 on his duels. And he had 2 clearances defensively as well, 2 tackles and 2 successful dribbles. So once again, Mateus Usechu, for the second match in a row, wears the armband, and he showed up very, very well as that very calm metronome that we're used to seeing from him.
Yeah, look, this whole thing that we do is about being petty anyway, so fine, man. I'm just going to be petty about John Champion and Taylor Twellman getting, spending the first 5 minutes talking about wondering, why he's holding the armband versus somebody else. And like, man, well, it's their decision, and it's hard for us. It's hard for you. It's hard for us. It's hard for anyone who's not there at practice, I think, to sit there and, try and speculate who is or isn't going to carry it, because, we can look at stuff during the game and get an idea, but we're not there at training. We're not seeing, how guys interact, how leadership is developed, and who needs to carry the armband. As we learned with Joseph in the years before, like, it's not always it's not always the guy who's like a big emotional leader who's going to wear the armband. So like, there's a lot of speculation about the damn armband, and like I don't know how important it is to all of them about who's wearing it and who's not wearing it.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know, but know that they gave it to Mateus Setu, and Mateus Setu has performed really well.
Mm-hmm.
And this goes back to we're going to bring this back to as Jason would refer to them, Jarrett Smith's beloved Celtic.
Yes.
There's the old saying about the shirt doesn't shrink.
Mm-hmm.
The shirt does not shrink to fit lesser men, and that's a very kind of hoity-toity way to say it, but like the shirt does not shrink, and the armband does not shrink to fit the lesser arms. So you want to have somebody who is going to be able to wear that armband, and Mateus Setu has absolutely done the job. I don't want to speculate on it, honestly. Like it's, and I mean, I know why we're having the conversation. That's all good. That's all fine and good, whatnot. But like, man, it just seems like unnecessary.
And considering, to the larger point that you made, we're not there. We are not at the Children's Healthcare of Atlanta training ground, 24/7, 365. And this is a decision that does not come lightly by any administration. You are sitting there and you're analyzing everyone as one of the senior players out there for Atlanta United currently in this lineup, one of the most experienced folks out there. And he gives you that calming influence that you need at times. And you're seeing that he is well worth wearing that captain's armband out there as a part of what we're seeing with Atlanta United, and we're also getting to see offensively what I think a lot of folks were anticipating when AMA was involved. You get Arujo Moreno and Thiago Almada all together, and you're seeing them, and you're seeing the artistry at work, which to me at times it was fun to watch these three working, trying to get things in the back of the net for Atlanta United.
Yeah, it was a blast. They were really fun. Just out there causing problems and harassing pretty much entire back lines. I think it's was it 9 goals in 3 games now we're looking at?
I
think 8 or 9 goals in 3 games, like something dumb like that.
8 and 3, I think you're right.
Yeah, 8 and 3. As Gonzalo Pineda said after the game, like that's without Joseph Martinez in the fray.
Mm-hmm.
Like his argument being, like what could this look like when you get a Joseph back? It could be a lot of fun, and that's no. And I feel like again, you want to qualify like that's no slight against Ronald Cisneros. Ronald Cisneros. Cisneros been great, man, but it's still been really good and really productive and really exciting about what could it be? What's the next step look like?
Yeah.
Because they're only going to get more comfortable with each other, and Thiago Almada is just an absolute demon in all the best ways.
Yes, and the chance that did not go in, I want to say it was in the late 20s. It was after he scored, and then there was another opportunity
where skirted across the box,
where it skirts across the box, and it was he ends up with the spinneroonie and sends like 3 New England players in different directions as he's trying to work his way from his left to his right and try to get off a shot centrally. That was a fun watch, knowing that kind of artistry is there in these moments. I thought that was another one of those moments that you're looking for. I know that Moreno had a combination with Cisneros. You got to see them interacting in the late 20s, minute-wise. And so it was fun to see what these three are gaining with experience and gaining with practice time. Another guy I want to get into quickly, Franco Ibarra. And you're seeing from Franco Ibarra on the day, 42 of 47 on the day passing, 89% on 68 touches. He was 1 for 2 on his long balls. Get this, 9 of 13 wins in ground duels. Won 9 of 13 on the ground. Won 2 for 3 in the air. So it's 11 of 16 duels won overall for Franco Ibarra on the day. Clearance, 3 interceptions, 7 tackles, 2 successful dribbles for Franco Ibarra, someone who really he's becoming very, very comfortable with what he's being allowed to do by Gonzalo Pineda.
Oh yeah, man. I mean, Franco Ibarra just we talked about it last week. I think Franco Ibarra looks like he could be. And it's early on still, man. Don't want to put too much pressure on the kid. It
Oh,
looks like he could be an absolute steal
mm-hmm.
coming out of Argentina. Because the growth potential is just so stupidly good. He's turned into much more than the ball winning destroyer that I think it kind of seemed like.
Mm-hmm.
And now he's a guy who's able to play passes and do a lot of fun stuff. And um, combined in the midfield with Setsu, they formed a very good partnership in a chaotic year for Atlanta United, where you lose Ozzy Alonso. You've asked more of Franco Ibarra than you um, probably wanted to, man. But I think he's handled it all with aplomb.
And
He's done great.
you're asking him to hit the ground running with this idea. It's like, okay, we need you in there. We need you now, and we need you
Yeah,
to do this.
we need you there now. We need you to be able to do this. It's something that I'm sure he's been working on because I'm sure he's capable of it. I don't mean to say like he's just a destroyer. He can't do anything else. Like nothing like that. But the fact that he's able to just been put in that situation where he's going out and getting it done,
Mm-hmm.
it's great. I'm just incredibly impressed with him. He doesn't need like validation from me or anybody else, man. But it's very fun to watch him do that.
And two other guys that I wanted to get into before we get into our questions
Yeah.
from Twitter. Alex DeJohn and Alan Franco again go the distance. After going 120 in the midweek, then they come back and give you 90 against New England. I'm of the mind, and Luis Araujo gave you another 90 today. Thiago Almada gives you a full 90. I'm of the mindset that we're dealing with several cyborgs within the Atlanta United organization that they just need recharges. They're kind of like EVs, they just kind of plug them in. And then when they're ready to go, it's like, all right, unplug them, send them out there, go. That's what we're getting with a lot of these guys.
Yeah, it was actually a conversation in the locker room afterward with Andrew Gutman that he basically told us was asked about hey, how are you feeling, like was there any doubt, and he said, I mean, he's like, there wasn't really any doubt that I was going to go this week. He was very determined to go, and he did really well. And and then it's like I think a question came up of like, well, I mean, how's everybody feeling? He's like, everybody feels fine, everybody's fit, we're good. It's like they're ready to go again.
Ready to go again. So, and they're going to get to go back up to Nashville, and we'll talk about that a lot this week. It's an interesting match week for Major League Soccer. You've got a lot of folks who are going to be playing in the midweek, so we're going to have it'll be a midweek whip around just as much as we'll have the weekend whip around. So we'll have two whip arounds this week to
Yes, we will.
What's going on with Major League Soccer. So let's get into the thoughts from the Twitters. And Chris Hutchison starts it off. He says, I'll be glad when Buxa is playing overseas and we don't have to defend against him.
Yeah, man, Buxa has taken that jump. I wondered if he could, and if he was going to be that 9 that New England needed. And yeah, I mean, he has been. It's been good. Buxa has made that jump and carried it over from last year into this year. I think he had 5 goals in 5 games before today. Adam Buxa is near the
4, and his last 4 heading into today were up via the head.
Yeah. He's better than just a guy who's going to poach and knock headers. So I mean, good work from Adam Buxa. Very good work indeed. He's a lot of fun, and yeah, I mean, it's a good point. Like, what's it going to be when when he does go to Europe? How does New England deal with this? Because it's the same question Atlanta's had before. Same question every team has in MLS. When you got guys transferring in and out of the league, how are you going to deal with it when that guy goes overseas? Because you're going to have to replace him. How do you do it?
Yeah. And Books' numbers, looking once again at our friends from SofaScore, breaking down the Adam Books' numbers, played the full 90, got the brace, and it was 1 for 3 on his dribbles, 43 touches, 80% in his passing of 16 of 20, 5 of 17 on his duels. It was 2 of 8 on the ground, 3 of 9 through the air. Not a surprise there. 2 clearances and a successful dribble for Adam Buxa on the day. Also on the board on the Twitters, John Nason is in. Still believe it looks like Luis can do his best work out on the left. Once he came more central, just wasn't as consistently dangerous, goal notwithstanding, of course. I'd consider not putting him back out right at this point. That's just his 2 cents. Using the hashtag #NotSoSalty today.
Yeah, I mean, it just depends on how it's gonna, how it's gonna set up, who's available. I think the availability and the way that teams set up dictates, and you're reacting to what other teams are doing. So Atlanta reacted to what they thought they were gonna see from New England, and it worked, I thought, pretty well.
Nathkovic is in. First thought was Nathkovic thought the second New England goal was offside. We did get the chance to look at it from on high, in the angle.
It's close, man, but it's I think it's on.
Yeah, I think it's on by about a foot, and I mean that literally and figuratively. It's onside by a foot. Also following up, Nathkovic goes, started scoring just in time for Miles and Gazan to go down, and now you're leaking goals. Nothing terrible, but just paying the price for little bits of slack in the defense.
Yeah, I mean, this is where this is kind of where you've been at all year, and it really is a really shitty place to be, in that you're not giving up a ton of chances, but you're getting punished when you give them up. And it feels like you're giving up chances. Others are getting away with giving up chances. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
And that's really hard to quantify sometimes. It's just kind of a frustration feeling.
Yep. And the last one on the board on the Twitters comes from Emilio. Says a nice comeback effort to be sure. Didn't expect it. He's concerned about the goalkeeper position. He's obviously saying not to cut Bobby Shuttleworth, to be clear, but he is concerned about the keeper position.
Yeah, I mean, we talked about this, John, after the game. That I mean, Bobby makes me. I feel bad for Bobby, because Bobby has the misfortune of being pretty good at what he does as a backup. Like, he's that good veteran backup that you want. But man, when you have a situation like the first goal,
Mm-hmm.
because I don't hold him. I'm not as hard on him on the second goal, because it's one of those where it's a 1v1 super close range, and Buxa just puts it in the roof of the net, and it's a hard save to make. He makes a really good save very late in the game to save you. Takes the ball off of it. Might have been I don't think it was Buxton. It might have been somebody. It was somebody else's foot. He takes it off his foot and makes a fantastic save. I mean, we're not, again, the same thing. We're not there at training, because I do understand where you're coming from with it, because I've seen a lot of people talk about it.
Yeah.
But we're not there at training. It's hard to tell, like, how guys are integrating. How's Rocco integrating? I mean, you've got guys with the second team as well who are going to be pushing. It's a weird thing. And, I think Bobby talked about after the game that he knows he should have done better on the first one. And he knows there's going to be pressure on him. He's in a tough situation when you're that backup, especially a veteran backup. It kind of feels like with a lot of those, like, it's such a no-win situation, because you're either going to do your job and do it well, or any mistake you make is going to feel like you are under your own magnifying glass,
That it's
because of your
situation.
Yeah, because the situation you're in, everything feels like it's going to be, looked at very closely, and then you're I think sometimes you try and be perfect. You can't try and be perfect. You just got to play your game. That's so much easier said than done.
And I don't want to give everything away here in Salty Takeaways. I think that it's been a good exchange between the two of us. And, we want to save some things for Overreaction Monday and what's going on Monday. But from 30,000 feet, heading out the door on this one in front of more than 42,000. What else are you taking away out of this one that you don't want to save until Monday morning?
I will probably address it Monday morning, whatever. If you told me before the game that they were going to pull a 2-2 draw, I probably would have taken it, given the fact that they played 120 minutes in just miserable, shitty conditions in the midweek in
Nashville.
In Nashville. Like, if you'd have told me that was what's going to happen, I'd probably been like, yeah, I'll take that. New England is kind of finding their stride, and you might be finding it at the worst time for you. and you're decimated on the back line, you're decimated at goalkeeper, like everything's kind of lined up in a way that they can hurt you. And you went and found a draw in a game that, yeah, you're gonna feel like, man, I should have won the game.
Yeah.
But if you'd have told me draw, I'd have been like, you're just because of the midweek 120 minutes.
Mm-hmm. And that's pretty
It's tough.
Yeah, and like going through a match in the midweek where you got a 2-0 lead, then off of a deflection and a header at 90 plus, you're going to play an extra 30, and then you play an extra 30, you lose it in the extra 30. Then you're having to turn around with a boatload of guys that played north of 80 minutes. You come into this particular game against a very tough New England team that, yes, I know that they were 2-5-1 ever since champions.
Yeah, but it's been a New England team that's kind of finding themselves, even in spite of Bruce Arena refusing to play three at the back, because he did that for a bit against Columbus, and then they started basically eating Columbus's lunch.
Yeah.
And then he's like, nah, watch this. I'm just going to do what I've been doing, even though it's not really been working.
I'm going to go back to Jones, Kessler, Farrell, and Bye at the back and just have four and not worry about it.
I mean, like, we can talk about this, and I'd be interested to hear the opinion of one Nick Alifi, who is very much not a Bruce Arena person, to put it nicely.
Yes.
About the idea that, like, man, is Bruce just being too stubborn and too, cocky about this? Because, I mean, it worked today. They get the draw. They'll feel like they should have won. Absolutely. Like, Atlanta did a great job. Atlanta, put, almost 30 shots on goal and a bunch inside the box and created an absolute ton of chances. That being said, you still had Bobby Shuttleworth make a great save late on a ball that could have been redirected in.
Mm-hmm.
And, Tommy McNamara hits the post.
Oh, yeah.
Like, this could have...
flush. I mean, it was almost flush and then to the inside of the post, too. And if it had been an inch or two to the right, that would have gone in and it would have been the difference.
Yeah. They're going to feel like they should have won that game, too. That's part of it. It was a fun game to watch. So maybe they're feeling good about themselves as well. And maybe it's a game where both teams, really needed to get on the right foot, and maybe they both can take something positive away from it.
Both collectively, figuratively, and literally getting on the right foot. Yes.
Yeah. Well, the foot that puts the ball in the back of the net, not the foot that gets stepped on or any of that nonsense.
Yes. So that is our quick look. That is the salty takeaways and bitter ends for a shared result at Mercedes-Benz Stadium. We'll obviously be discussing it for most of the week as we lead into the match at Nashville, where lessons will have been learned, and it will be an interesting place in front of a packed Geodis Park.
A Nashville team that just got it. We could talk about that this week, man, but I don't know if you saw the comments that Gary Smith had about his team. Gary Smith had some thoughts. Because if y'all haven't seen it, they went to Dallas and lost 2-0. Houston. Excuse me. They went to Houston and lost 2-0.
Those comments, yeah, Gary lit them up.
Yeah, because they were up a man for 65 or 70 minutes, and then we're down 1-0. Like Houston scores early. Houston gets a red card. They play for over an hour up a man. Not only do they not score, they don't really generate much.
Yeah.
They give up a penalty goal and they lose 2-0 to a team that's down a man. Like it's something that Gary ain't gonna sit right with. Gary's got thoughts.
Yeah, Gary's got thoughts, and he's never been afraid.
Gary ain't shy.
Yes, Gary is not shy, and he has not been one to sit there and bite his tongue about anything involving those kinds of things. We'll talk about that all week long as we get you ready for Nashville, and the 7-letter R word that Atlanta United will be carrying up there to Geodis with them. A loud 30,000 plus. So he's Jarrett. I'm Jon. That's Salty Takeaways. Thanks for hanging out with us. Don't forget to download the SDH app available on iOS and Android, soccerdownhere.net. He's at Jarrett_Smith. I'm at OSG Nelson. It's at Soccer Down Here on all your social media platforms. 9:05 Eastern Time. We'll talk about stuff. That's the official term. Jarrett, send us home.
Good chip lot to y'all. Take care. Be nice.